Well, everyone's feeling the impact of the virus, especially people with important events like weddings scheduled. Well, big gatherings aren't allowed right now, so that's leaving many couples searching for solutions. Anchor Allison Latos spoke to one bride-to-be, Charlotte Story, who's stuck with some decisions.
So obviously you're engaged, planning a wedding. When was your wedding scheduled and where?
We were initially planning to get married on April 18th, so about a month from now. And we were planning to get married at a church here in town, our local parish, St. Anne's on Park Road, and then to have an uptown reception. And unfortunately, we were planning to have over 100 guests, which is double what North Carolina and the CDC are now recommending. So I think the CDC recently recommended that for the next 8 weeks, people stay away from gatherings of 50 or more. So that was a turning point for us.
When did you first start to worry that the coronavirus may impact your wedding plans?
I think last week, the end of last week, we started seeing a lot of Facebook posts and social media updates about what was happening in Italy. And that was when, for me, I had a real kind of a moment of like, oh, wow, this is actually going to get really bad. And that was kind of a big turning point for me, and seeing that not only were they having a lot of cases come in all at once, but they were really having to think about like how they used their resources and, you know, the sort of severity of that public health, the public health system burden really hit me then.
And so you've been planning this wedding for how long?
Oh my gosh. So we got engaged July of 2018. So I think about a year and a half.
How was the conversation with you and your fiance, and how did you come to the conclusion we're going to have to cancel?
It was tough. At first, we were like, oh, maybe we could just do it smaller. You know, we anticipated having a number of cancellations. And then, you know, the recommendations for, you know, how often people are to gather were to get smaller and smaller. And I'm a medical student. My parents that I live with are both physicians, and we have a lot of medical friends. And so this week we've really just been talking about, like, not only are we talking about bringing a bunch of people together, but it's going to be a bunch of people from a bunch of different hospitals that are at relatively higher risk for being asymptomatic carriers. And so that for us was just like, ooh, that's really not a good idea. We really need to sort of take some responsibility for our own risk of passing this on to our guests. And that was kind of the end of it.
So what happens to all of your plans? I'm sure you had deposits and money paid for flowers and food and your dress and all of that.
Actually, we've been really lucky. So we had kind of the worst setup. We had paid almost everything, and we were additionally planning to honeymoon in South Korea and Japan. We had a 2-week honeymoon completely paid for, flights, hotels, and none of it was like a package. It was all like individually booked. But honestly, it's been kind of amazing. The Kimpton Hotel uptown gave us a full refund. The church has been wonderful to help us kind of figure out future steps. And honestly, pretty much every flight and hotel at this point has been willing to help work with us through this time. I think everybody's kind of realizing that this is really unprecedented, and we've been really, really fortunate that we've seen a lot of support from the wedding industry.
I can only imagine the emotional roller coaster that this has been, and to couple that with the fact that you have a very acute awareness of how dangerous potentially this could be given your medical school training that you're going through. So can you just talk to me about all the different feelings you've been having?
I think at this point, honestly, a lot of what I've been feeling is really grateful. At first it was really, really tough. We've been planning this for over a year and a half. There was, you know, a lot of joy for the day for ourselves, but also as a moment to see people we haven't seen in a long time. We had friends coming in from Germany, Italy, Malawi, people that I haven't seen since college, and family members that we haven't been able to keep in touch with as well as we'd like. And so this was, you know, not only a big moment for us for our wedding, but also a big reunion of people that we really want to see. But I think that we are right. Everybody in our family right now is doing well, is happy and healthy and safe, and we really want to keep everybody that way. And so at this point, I think we had some grief a few days ago, and we've moved on to acceptance, and we're gonna keep going.
Well, let's turn now. Story and her fiance are still discussing whether to delay the ceremony or possibly even getting married this weekend.